Hi, my name is Jeong from PATOS Coordination Center. I am going to explain some important key variable of the PATOS database. Today I'm going to explain the country variable to you. Let's see the country variable in the data dictionary version 2.0. The variable name is country. The definition is alphabetic abbreviations of a country. This variable is a core obligation variable, and time point is not applicable, and code type is character, and number of responses is single, and there is also commands for this variable. Each country will be given a 3-digit code based on international dialing codes. For example, South Korea 082. Country code will be auto-filled using your registration information. Let's see the variable list Excel file, which is the most important file I previously told you in another presentation. There are two variables about country, number 555 country, and number 556 PC, which means a participating country. This is the country variable number 555, which has 10 countries from South Korea to Singapore. And this is the participating country PC variable, which has also 10 countries. Actually, this is exactly the same to the previous slide, except for the order of each country. So you could use the country variable as well as PC variable. And this graph shows the proportion of each country's entered data amount. Korea is about half of the whole database, Vietnam about 17%, Malaysia and Taiwan about 10%, Singapore about 8%, and Thailand about 2%. Data entry amounts vary by country. This graph shows the participating hospital proportion by country. On your left side, Korea and Malaysia has more than 10 participating hospitals. The most active hospitals do not exceed 30%. In South Korea, Wonju Hospital about 27%, and Songhai Buloh Hospital in Malaysia about 29% in Malaysia. But in other countries, a few hospitals account for the majority of the data input. Jeong Hospital in Vietnam about 87%, SKH Hospital in Taiwan about 67%, Vajra Hospital in Thailand about 83%, CGH in Singapore about 85%. This graph shows you the arrival year proportion by country. Some countries enter the data continuously, but some countries cannot enter the data recently, and some countries input the data recently. The proportion of women or men is different between countries. UAE, about 85% were men, but in Taiwan, 55% were men. Malaysia, Philippines also shows higher men proportion, about 70%. The graph shows each age proportions by country. In x-axis, the left side is younger age, and the right side is older age from 0 to over 100 years old. In Malaysia and Vietnam and Thailand and Philippines and UAE, there are more young age group in their database. In Korea and Taiwan, there are relatively more patients with old age, and Singapore, old age patients has a dominant proportion. So the main age group is different between each country. The arrival type proportion is also different by country, and there are four types of the arrival EMS mode. The first is pre-hospital EMS, the second is inter-hospital EMS, the third one is pre-hospital non-EMS, and the last one is inter-hospital non-EMS. As you know, PATOS database has only trauma patients who is transported by the ambulance. Some countries have a dominant proportion of the pre-hospital EMS, and some countries have a dominant proportion of the pre-hospital non-EMS. The system or environment of each country's EMS is different. This graph shows the intent proportion by country. The proportion of intentional injury, which means self-harm, suicide, violence, or murder, is different between countries, and some countries enters no information about injury intent. This graph shows the injury mechanism proportion by country. In some countries, fall from a height is the most common mechanism. In some countries, traffic accident (TAA) is the most common mechanism. In some countries, patients with unknown injury mechanism information is not small, so if you include some specific injury mechanism variable in your study, it is inevitable to exclude these patients. The alcohol consumption proportion by country also varies, and there are also unknown information about alcohol in some countries. ISS, Injury Severity Score, is one of the most important variables in the PATOS database. You can also see that the fraction of ISS categories varies by country. GOS, the Glasgow Outcome Scale, is also differs by country. Some countries do not enter the GOS variables. And this is summary of my presentation. The number of countries included in the data set is 10. Each country has different data characteristics, even gender and age. And data entry proportion by country varies from 0.2% to 50.9%. And you should be careful that South Korea is not representative of your study population. And data from each country is not representative of that country. This is very important. You should remember that, one more time, data from each country is not representative of that country. And even data from a hospital may not be representative of that participating hospital. So we should pay close attention to the country variable. We should consider country as a confounded variable when proving research hypothesis. This is more reasonable, I think. And we should be very careful when describing country-specific characteristics. This is generally not recommended. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. If you have any questions, you could send me email at Jeong at SNU Seoul National University. Or you can also send an email to PATOS-CRN, Sui Agnes Kim, Seoul National University Hospital in gmail.com. Thank you for your listening.